When Anya walked into my office, I noticed something immediately. She was speaking, but it wasn't her voice. She spoke English, but it was a borrowed English. The words fell from her mouth, but they didn't come from her soul. She sat down. Her eyes went to the floor, then to the window, then to the door. But never to me. "Thank you for coming, Anya," I said. She nodded. Barely. Then her lips moved. She was trying to say something, but the words wouldn't come. For the first 10 minutes, she didn't speak. She just sat there, waiting. But she didn't know what she was waiting for. Then, very slowly, very quietly, she murmured something in Ukrainian, not to be heard. It was like she was talking to herself, and for one moment her eyes blurred, like a door had opened. But it closed immediately. She flinched, her eyes went wide, and she switched back to English. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't mean to." She stopped. I looked at her, and in that moment I understood something. Anya was afraid to speak her own language, because that language took her home, and home wasn't there anymore. The moment Anya spoke Ukrainian, something changed. Just for 1 second. But in that second, her face changed. She became someone else, maybe who she used to be. But the moment was too short, because she immediately pulled herself together. She swallowed. She wiped her eyes. "I don't speak Ukrainian anymore," she said. But that sentence was more than a lie. It was a death announcement. She had killed her own language, because that language connected her to the past, and the past was unbearable pain. "Why not?" I asked. She didn't answer, but her hands did. She rubbed her palms together, like there was something invisible on them and she was trying to clean it off. Then, very softly, almost in a whisper, "Because when I speak it, I remember." What did she remember? I didn't ask that question yet, but I knew. One day, that door would open. And when it did, Anya's real story, in that language she couldn't find words for, would pour out. Before we go further, let me tell you what I didn't know yet. What Anya hadn't told me. The fragments of her story that would take weeks to piece together. I didn't know that 2 years ago, she was running through the streets of Kharkiv while missiles screamed overhead. That she watched her childhood home collapse into rubble with her mother and 8-year-old sister still inside. I didn't know that she spent 3 nights sleeping on the floor of a Bulgarian train station, too afraid to close her eyes, clutching a plastic bag with everything she owned. I didn't know that in Vienna, a woman with kind eyes and a warm smile would take her passport and tell her she now owed 10,000 euros for processing fees. I didn't know that she learned to count to 60 in her head. 60 seconds until it would be over, 60 seconds until she could breathe again, 60 seconds until she could go somewhere else in her mind. I didn't know that she hadn't looked at her own reflection in 18 months. That mirrors were her enemy. That every shower lasted an hour because she couldn't stop scrubbing. I didn't know that 3 weeks ago she stared at 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test in a gas station bathroom and felt nothing. Not fear, not hope, just emptiness. I didn't know that the phone in her pocket buzzed constantly with messages from a man she'd never disobeyed, until today. Until she walked into my office instead of meeting a client at the Marriott on 52nd Street. I didn't know any of this yet, but I would, because Anya was about to tell me a story that would keep me awake for months. A story about war and survival, about borders crossed and dignity stolen, about the price of staying alive when death might have been easier. This is that story. In some sessions, my patients heal as they tell their stories. But some stories, they never leave my mind. Today I'm going to tell you one of those lives. If you're listening to this story, and you have things inside you that you can't hold in, share what's going through your mind in the comments, and tell me where you're listening from. I read every comment. I hear every story. If you want to stay informed about the therapy stories I can't get out of my head, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. If this story touched your feelings, you can support me by liking the video. One day I'd love to hear your story too. If you want me to share your story in my next video, you can send it to the email address in my profile. Remember, our stories heal, even if just a little, when they're shared. Anya's hands were shaking, not from cold. My office was 75 degrees. I offered her a glass of water. She didn't take it, like if she touched that glass, something would break. I watched her fingers. They moved constantly, picking at the hem of her sleeve, pulling it down over her wrist, then letting it slide back up, then pulling it down again. A rhythm, obsessive, protective. Then I noticed her bag. A large Gucci bag, but it was old. The leather was cracked at the corners. The gold hardware was tarnished, and it wasn't her style. Nothing about Anya was designer. She wore a plain gray sweatshirt, old jeans with a hole in the knee, sneakers that had seen too many miles. That bag didn't belong to her. She had taken it from someone, or been given it, or been told to carry it. Her phone was visible in the side pocket. The screen kept lighting up, again and again. Messages coming through. She glanced at it each time. Her jaw would tighten. Her breathing would quicken. But she didn't reach for it. "How long have you been in the US?" I asked. She blinked, like she was translating the question from one language to another before she could answer. 2 years, her accent was thick, Eastern European. The words came out careful, measured. "And before?" "Bulgaria," she swallowed, then Austria. Her sentences were short, clipped, like she was rationing words, like each one cost her something. "Why did you leave Ukraine?" Her eyes went distant, not unfocused, the opposite, too focused, like she was staring at something very specific, something I couldn't see. "I had to," she said. The phone buzzed again. This time her whole body flinched. Her hand moved toward it instinctively, then stopped. She pulled her hand back, pressed it against her thigh. Her knuckles went white. "Are you expecting a call?" I asked gently. "No, too fast, too defensive." The phone buzzed again and again, 3 messages in quick succession. She closed her eyes, her lips moved silently, counting. I recognized this, a grounding technique. She was trying to stay present. When she opened her eyes, they were wet. "Anya," I said softly, "are you safe right now?" She looked at me like it was a trick question. Like, safe was a word from a foreign language she used to speak but had forgotten. "I don't know what that means anymore," she said. Her sleeve had slid up her arm while she was reaching for her bag. I saw them then. Bruises, yellowing at the edges, old ones, maybe a week or 2. But there were fresher ones too, purple, red, the kind that hurt to look at. She noticed me noticing. Her hand flew to her wrist, tugging the sleeve down hard, too hard. She winced. "I'm clumsy," she said quickly. "I fell." We both knew she was lying, and we both knew that I knew. But I didn't push. Not yet. Trust takes time, and Anya had no reason to trust anyone, especially not someone asking questions. "You're safe here," I said instead. "In this room. Nothing you say leaves this space unless you want it to." She studied my face, looking for something, a crack in the facade, a sign that I was like the others, the ones who promised help and delivered pain. Whatever she saw, it made her shoulders drop slightly, just a fraction. But it was something. "I'm pregnant," she said. The words came out flat, empty, like she was reading from a script she didn't understand. I waited. Sometimes the most powerful thing a therapist can do is simply wait. 12 weeks, she continued. Her hand moved to her stomach. Not gently, she pressed, hard, like she was checking to see if it was real. I don't know what to do. In 22 years of practice, I've learned to maintain professional boundaries. To care without carrying. To help without drowning in someone else's pain. But sitting across from Anya, I felt those boundaries wavering. I wanted to reach across and take her hand, tell her everything would be okay, promise her safety, promise her a future. But I couldn't, because I didn't know if any of those things were true. What I did know was this. Anya wasn't just traumatized. She was currently in danger. Those bruises were fresh. That phone was buzzing with threats. I could feel it. And she was 12 weeks pregnant with a child she didn't know if she could keep. This wasn't therapy. This was triage. I thought about my own life, my comfortable apartment in Brooklyn, my morning coffee routine, my biggest stress being whether the subway would make me late. And here was Anya, 26 years old, carrying trauma that would break most people. Still standing, still fighting, still trying. I felt something crack open in my chest. Not pity. Pity is condescending. This was something else. Recognition, respect, and a fierce, protective anger at a world that had failed her so completely. I couldn't fix everything. I couldn't undo what had been done. But I could be here, right now, in this moment, bearing witness. Sometimes that's enough to start. Let's start somewhere easier, I suggested. Tell me about before you came to the US. Anya's eyes went distant. Her pupils dilated slightly, a physiological response to memory recall. Her breathing slowed. She was going back, not just mentally, her body was returning to Ukraine. Kharkiv, she said. The word came out like a sigh. I lived in Kharkiv. She pronounced it the Ukrainian way, Kharkiv, not the Russian Kharkov. That detail mattered. Language is identity. What was it like? A small, sad smile appeared on her face. The first smile I had seen. Her whole face changed. For a moment I saw the girl she used to be, young, hopeful, loved. It was home, she said. My mother, my little sister Oksana, she was 8. My father worked at a factory. We weren't rich, but we were, together. Past tense. Everything was past tense. Her fingers moved to the small silver cross around her neck. I hadn't noticed it before. It was hidden under her sweatshirt. She rubbed it between her thumb and forefinger. A nervous habit. Or a prayer. Oksana loved to draw, Anya said quietly. She wanted to be an artist. She drew everything, flowers, buildings, people. Our apartment walls were covered with her drawings. Her voice softened when she talked about her sister. The hard edges melted away. What happened? The softness disappeared. Her face went blank. Walls up. Her hand dropped from the necklace. She sat perfectly still. Too still. Like she was holding her breath underwater. February, she said, monotone now, mechanical. February 24th, 2022, 5 in the morning. Her eyes were open but unfocused. She wasn't in my office anymore. I woke up to sounds. Like thunder. But it wasn't thunder. Her hands moved to her ears, covered them, then dropped. A muscle memory playing out. Bombs? She whispered. My mother told us to go to the basement, Anya continued. Her voice was getting smaller, younger. Like she was becoming that girl again. Oksana was scared. She didn't want to go down into the dark. She wanted her rabbit, her stuffed rabbit, pink, with long ears. She'd had it since she was 3. She stopped, swallowed hard. Her throat worked, once, twice, like she was choking on something. I told her I would get it. It was in her room. I ran upstairs. I grabbed it from her bed. Her eyes were filling with tears now, but she wasn't blinking, just staring. I heard my mother yelling, Anya, come down, now, but I was already in the hallway. I was coming. I had the rabbit. I was coming down the stairs. Her breathing was becoming rapid, shallow. Hyperventilation starting. And then... She couldn't say it. Her mouth opened. No sound came out. Anya, I said gently, you're here. You're in New York. You're safe. She didn't hear me. She was in Kharkiv, on those stairs, holding a pink rabbit. Everything went white, she whispered, then black, then nothing. Just ringing. So loud I couldn't hear anything else. I tried to stand but I couldn't move. Something was on top of me. Something heavy. Concrete, wood, I don't know. A tear rolled down her cheek. She didn't wipe it. I still had the rabbit, in my hand. I could feel its fur. That's all I could feel. Everything else was numb. This is what trauma does. It freezes moments in time. Anya isn't just remembering February 24th. She's there, right now. Her nervous system can't differentiate between then and now. The threat feels present, immediate, real. This is called traumatic reliving. The memory isn't stored as a past event, it's stored as a present danger. Every time she accesses it, her body believes it's happening again. Her heart rate spikes, her cortisol floods, her breathing becomes shallow. This is why trauma survivors often can't just get over it, because for them it's not over. It's happening. Right now. Always. And the stuffed rabbit. That detail, that she remembers the texture of its fur while everything else was numb, that's significant. The brain in extreme trauma focuses on tiny, irrelevant details while blocking out the overwhelming horror. It's a survival mechanism. But it also means that years later, the smell of fake fur or the color pink might send her spiraling. Trauma lodges itself in the smallest things. I don't know how long I was there. Under the rubble, Anya said. Her voice was hollow now, scraped clean of emotion. It felt like forever. I kept calling for my mother, for Oksana, but nobody answered. She looked at her hands, turned them over, studied her palms like they belonged to someone else. When they pulled me out, 6 hours later, they told me. She paused. Her jaw clenched, her teeth ground together. I could hear it. My mother, my sister. They didn't make it. The bomb hit directly above the basement. They thought they were safe. The basement was supposed to be safe. Her voice cracked on the word safe. I should have been there, with them if I hadn't gone to get that stupid rabbit. Survivor's guilt. One of the most destructive forms of trauma. Anya has built an entire belief system around this one moment. In her mind, she is responsible for their deaths. Not the bomb, not Putin, not the war. Her. This cognitive distortion will haunt every aspect of her healing until we can help her reframe it. But she's not ready yet. Right now, she needs to finish the story, to get it out, to stop carrying it alone. And your father? I asked softly. Her face tightened. Missing, she said. He was at the factory when it happened. I looked for him. For 2 weeks. Every hospital, every shelter, every morgue. She said morgue like it was just another word, like she'd become fluent in the language of death. Nothing. Some people said they saw him get on a bus heading west, toward Poland. Others said, she couldn't finish. I left before I found out. Why did you leave? She looked at me like the answer should be obvious, because there was nothing left. No home, no family, just bombs. Every day, more bombs. I couldn't breathe there anymore. Every sound, a car backfiring, a door slamming, I thought, this is it. This is how I die. She wiped her face with the back of her hand, rough, angry. So I ran. I got on a bus with 20 other people, then a train, then another bus. I didn't have a plan. I just knew I had to leave. People were going to Poland, to Moldova, to Romania. She paused. I ended up in Bulgaria. Tell me about Bulgaria, I said. She shifted in her seat. Her phone buzzed again. She glanced at it. Her face went pale. She turned the phone face down, but kept her hand on it, like she was afraid it would explode if she let go. I slept in a train station, she said, in Sofia, for 3 nights. It was cold. March, still winter there. I had 1 blanket. Someone had given it to me at the border. It smelled like gasoline and cigarettes, but it was warm. Her eyes went unfocused again, seeing something I couldn't. There were others, refugees, mostly women and children. The men had to stay, to fight. We didn't talk much. We didn't need to. We all had the same look, the same emptiness. She rubbed her arms like she was cold now, in my 75-degree office. On the 4th day a woman came, Bulgarian. She was handing out food, sandwiches, water. She spoke a little Russian so I could understand her. She asked me if I needed help, if I had anywhere to go. Anya's jaw clenched. I said no. And she smiled. She had a nice smile, kind eyes. She said she ran a cleaning company. She said she could give me a job, a place to stay. She said I could start over. She laughed, but there was no humor in it, just bitterness. Start over, she repeated. Like you can just erase everything and begin again, like trauma is something you can wash off in the shower. She looked directly at me. I believed her, she said. That's the worst part. I actually believed her. Anya's voice became even quieter now. I had to lean forward to hear her. She took me to Vienna. She said the pay was better there. She said I would clean hotels, rich people's homes. She said I could make enough money to eventually bring my father if we found him. But that's not what happened. No. The word came out like a stone dropping into deep water. That's not what happened. Her hands moved to her throat. She wrapped her fingers around her own neck, gently, like she was checking to make sure she could still breathe. When we got to Vienna, she took my passport. She said it was for registration, for work permits. She said she'd give it back in a few days. She let go of her throat. Her hands dropped to her lap. She drove me to an apartment, a basement apartment, small, dark, damp. There were 3 other girls there, 2 from Moldova, 1 from Romania. They looked at me with... She searched for the word, pity, like they knew something I didn't. She picked at her fingernail. The cuticle was already bleeding, but she kept picking. The woman, her name was Yulia. She showed me a paper, numbers, big numbers. She said I owed her, for the travel, for the documents, for the accommodation, 3,000 euros, then 5,000, then 8,000. The number kept growing. That's trafficking, I said quietly. You know that, right? She nodded, but there was no surprise in her face. I know that now, she said. I didn't know it then. I was stupid. I was desperate. I believed her when she said it was just debt, that I could work it off. She stopped picking at her nail and pressed her thumb hard against the bleeding cuticle, like she wanted it to hurt more. She said the cleaning job wouldn't pay enough. It would take years, she said, unless... The word hung in the air, heavy, inevitable. Unless what, I asked, even though I already knew. Unless I did other work. Anya's voice was completely flat now, affectless, like she was reading a grocery list. She said it was easy, just a few hours a night, rich men, hotels. She said they were respectful. She said I just had to smile, be friendly, make them feel good. Her eyes met mine, and in them I saw shame so deep it was like looking into a canyon with no bottom. I said no. What did she do when you said no? Anya's breath caught. She held it. 5 seconds. 10. Then released it slowly. She laughed, Anya said. She said I didn't understand. She said I already owed her. She said if I didn't work, she would report me to immigration. She said I would be deported. Back to Ukraine, back to the bombs. She started rocking slightly back and forth, a self-soothing behavior, her body trying to comfort itself. I still said no, so she stopped bringing food. For 3 days, I didn't eat. The other girls tried to share with me, but they didn't have much either. I was so hungry, so weak. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. And then she brought him to the apartment, a man, tall, smelled like cologne and alcohol. She locked me in the bedroom with him. Anya's entire body went rigid. Her hands gripped the arms of the chair. Her knuckles white. He didn't care that I was crying. He didn't care that I said no. He didn't care that I tried to push him away. He was stronger. She closed her eyes. A tear escaped and ran down her cheek. I remember the ceiling. There was a water stain, shaped like a bird. I stared at it the whole time. I counted the cracks, 23. There were 23 cracks in that ceiling. This is dissociation, the mind's last defense when the body can't escape. Anya had left. While her body was violated, she went somewhere else. Counted cracks, stared at water stains. When it was over, she continued, he left money on the dresser. Like it was a transaction, like I had agreed. Her eyes opened, they were dead. Yulia came in after he left. She picked up the money, counted it, then she looked at me, still on the bed, still crying, and she said, see, that wasn't so bad, you'll get used to it. Anya's voice broke. And she was right. I did get used to it. That's the worst part. After a while, I stopped crying. I stopped fighting. I just did it. Like a job, like brushing my teeth. Mechanical, empty. This is what repeated trauma does. It doesn't just hurt, it rewires. The brain adapts to survive. Emotions get turned off because feeling would be unbearable. The body becomes a thing separate from the self. Dissociation becomes automatic. Anya isn't weak for getting used to it. She's extraordinary. Her brain found a way to protect her psyche while her body endured the unendurable. That's not weakness. That's the most powerful survival mechanism humans have. But there's a cost. When you train your brain to disconnect during trauma, it doesn't know when to stop. It starts disconnecting during everything. Joy, pleasure, connection, love. Life becomes muted, colors fade to gray, you're alive, but you're not living. This is why Anya can't look in mirrors, why she can't speak Ukrainian, why she scrubs her skin until it's raw. She's trying to wash away the feeling of being separated from herself. But you can't scrub off association. You have to slowly, carefully reconnect. That's the work ahead of us. How long were you in Vienna? I asked. 8 months, she said. 243 days. I counted. Can you tell me about those 8 months? She was quiet for a long time. Her fingers moved to her wrist. She scratched at it. Small, repetitive movements. I could see faint scars there. Not deep, but many. Different hotels, she finally said. Different men. Yulia would text me an address, a time, a room number. I would go, do what I was told, leave. She said it like she was describing a commute. Clinical, detached. Some of them were, okay, they would pay, leave, not talk much. Those were the easy ones. She paused, swallowed. But some of them. Her hand moved to her ribs. She pressed, winced slightly. There was a businessman, German. He came to Vienna every month. Yulia said he requested me specifically. She said that was good. It meant I was doing well. Bitter laugh. He was rough. He liked when it hurt. When I cried, he would get angry. He said crying ruined the mood. So I learned not to cry. I learned to make other sounds. Sounds he liked. Her voice was completely flat. Empty. One time, he brought a friend. They didn't ask. They just, both, at the same time. She stopped, pressed her hand to her mouth, like she might be sick. After that night, I couldn't walk right for 3 days. Everything hurt. Yulia gave me pills for the pain. I don't know what they were, but they made everything fuzzy, easier. The pills. This is how chemical dependency often starts in trafficking victims. The pain, physical and emotional, becomes unbearable. Pills make it manageable, then necessary, then addictive. It's not weakness, it's survival. I started taking them before appointments, Anya continued, not just after, because if I was already numb, it didn't matter what they did. I couldn't feel it anyway. She looked at me. Do you understand? She asked. I chose to make myself numb. I chose to disconnect. So what does that make me? Human, I said firmly. It makes you human. What would you do after? I asked gently. After the appointments? Anya's hand moved unconsciously to her arm. She scratched. The same repetitive motion. I would go back to the apartment, she said. The other girls would usually be sleeping or out. I would go straight to the bathroom. She paused. Her breathing changed faster. I would turn the shower as hot as it would go, until the water was burning. And I would stand there, scrubbing, everywhere, with a brush, the kind you use for dishes, rough. She held up her arm. I could see now, those scars weren't from cutting, they were from scrubbing. Layers of skin rubbed raw, healed, then rubbed raw again. I would scrub until I bled, until I couldn't feel the hot water anymore, until I couldn't feel anything. Her eyes filled with tears. But I could never get clean, she whispered. No matter how hard I scrubbed, I still felt dirty. Like it was inside me, under my skin, in my bones, and no amount of soap could wash it away. She wiped her eyes roughly with her sleeve. Sometimes I would stay in the shower for an hour, until the water ran cold. Until Yulia would bang on the door and tell me to stop wasting water. But even then, even when I got out, I still felt filthy. This is a common trauma response. The body becomes the enemy, the site of violation. Survivors try to erase the feeling through physical pain, through cleaning rituals, through anything that might make them feel pure again. But trauma doesn't wash off. It has to be processed from the inside out. How did you get to the US? I asked. Anya's face darkened. Her jaw set. There was a man, she said carefully. American, businessman. He came to Vienna for work. He was one of the clients. She said clients like the word tasted rotten. But he was different. He didn't want sex. He just wanted to talk. He said I reminded him of his daughter. She was my age, 24 then. She was a teacher in Seattle. A small, sad smile crossed her face. He asked me how I ended up there. I didn't tell him everything, but I told him enough. About Ukraine. About Yulia. About the debt. What did he say? He cried, Anya said. Her voice held disbelief. He actually cried. And then he said he wanted to help. He said he could get me to America. He said he had connections, immigration lawyers. He said I could claim asylum. Did you believe him? I didn't know what to believe anymore, she said. But I was so tired of Vienna, so tired of that apartment, so tired of hotels and strange rooms and men who smelt like cologne and cigarettes. Her voice cracked. So when he gave me money, $5,000 and an address in New York, I took it. I didn't tell Yulia. I just left. In the middle of the night, I took nothing, just the clothes I was wearing. I got on a plane. She looked down at her hands. For 13 hours, I sat on that plane thinking, maybe this is it. Maybe I get to start over. Maybe I get to be Anya again. The hope in her voice broke my heart, because I knew what was coming. When you landed, what happened? Her face closed off, walls up. He wasn't there, she said flatly. Nobody was there. I had an address, a place he said I could stay. But when I went there, she laughed bitterly. The address didn't exist. I stood on that street for 2 hours, looking at the numbers, thinking maybe I got it wrong, but I didn't. It was fake. All of it, fake. When Anya told me this, I felt rage. Pure, hot rage. Not at her. At him, at every person who had promised her safety and delivered betrayal. At a world that teaches women their only value is in what men can take from them. But I couldn't show her that rage. Because rage would scare her. She'd think she'd done something wrong, that she'd made me angry. So I kept my face neutral, professional, even as I wanted to scream. What did you do? I asked. I slept on the street, Anya said. Simply, like it was normal, for 2 weeks. Then someone told me about a shelter, for women. I went there. She picked at her cuticle again. It started bleeding. She didn't seem to notice. At the shelter, I met a woman, Maria. She was kind, or I thought she was. She said she knew someone who could help me, someone who helped immigrant women find work, legal work. She said he was good, trustworthy. My stomach dropped. Here we go again. I met him. His name was Roman, Russian-American. He had an office, a real office, with a secretary and everything. He seemed professional. What did he say? He said he could help me get a work permit, get me set up with a job. But first I needed to pay fees. Processing fees, legal fees, documentation fees. She listed them mechanically. $5,000. You didn't have that money. No. So he said I could work it off. He said it was temporary, just until the debt was cleared. He said he had clients, wealthy clients, who needed escorts, for events, for dinners, for company. Nothing more, he said. But it was more. It's always more, she said bitterly. Her phone buzzed repeatedly, 5 times in a row. She looked at it, her face went gray. She typed something quickly, 1 word, then put the phone down. Is that him? I asked. She didn't answer, but her hands were shaking. Anya, are you still working for him? Silence. Then, so quietly I almost didn't hear it. Yes, how often? 4 or 5 times a week, sometimes more. Depends on how many appointments he books. And if you say no? She pulled up her sleeve. The bruises I'd seen before, but now I could see more. Finger marks on her upper arm, her wrist. Someone had grabbed her. Hard, recently. This was last week, she said. I said I was sick, I couldn't work, he didn't like that. She pulled her sleeve back down. He has someone, a guy, big, doesn't talk much, just reminds you what happens if you don't cooperate. What did the message just say? I asked, gesturing to her phone. She hesitated, then picked up the phone, showed me the screen. Where are you? You have appointment 3 p.m. Marriott, room 1847, don't be late. My blood ran cold. That's in 2 hours, I said. She nodded. Put the phone down, her hands were trembling. If I don't go, she started. What happens if you don't go? Last time I missed an appointment, he came to my apartment. At 2 in the morning. With the big guy, they didn't hurt me. Not much, just enough to remind me. She touched her ribs gingerly. He said next time would be worse. He said I'm his property. He said I don't get to have opinions. I don't get to say no. I work when he says work. I do what he says do. Her voice was getting smaller, younger. And I can't leave because I still owe him. The number keeps growing. Late fees, missed appointments fees, cleaning fees. Every week I owe more. I've worked for 6 months and the debt is bigger now than when I started. Classic trafficking tactic. The debt that never decreases. The trap that never opens. Anya, I said carefully. You know this isn't sustainable. You know this is going to destroy you. I'm already destroyed, she said. No, I said firmly. You're hurt. There's a difference. Destroyed means there's nothing left to save. You're here. Sitting in my office, telling me your story. That means there's still something alive in there. Something worth fighting for. She looked at me with such desperate hope. Do you really think so? She asked, like a child asking if Santa is real. I know so, I said. Tell me about the pregnancy, I said gently. Her hand went to her stomach. She pressed, not gently, like she was trying to feel if it was real, or trying to make it disappear. I don't know who the father is, she said. Flat, matter of fact. In 1 month there were, maybe 20, maybe more. I stopped counting. She looked at me with dead eyes. One of them didn't use protection, or maybe the condom broke, or maybe... She shrugged. I don't remember, they all blurred together after a while. Different faces, same thing. When did you find out? 3 weeks ago, I missed my period. I took a test, in a gas station bathroom. Positive. I took 3 more, all positive. She wrapped her arms around herself. I didn't tell anyone, not Roman, not the other girls I work with, no one. I've just been pretending, going to appointments, smiling, doing what I'm told. But inside, her voice broke. Inside I'm screaming. Tears started flowing. She didn't wipe them, just let them fall. I can't have this baby, she said. I can't. How can I bring a child into this nightmare? What kind of mother would I be? I can't even take care of myself. I can't even look at myself. She was sobbing now. Full body shaking sobs. But I also can't kill it. Because it didn't do anything wrong. It's innocent. It didn't choose this. And if I get rid of it, then I'm just like them, taking something that isn't mine to take, ending something that deserves to live. This is the impossible choice. Keep the baby and condemn both of them to this life, or terminate and add another layer of loss to the mountain of trauma she's already carrying. There is no good option. Only survival. Only the choice that hurts the least. But here's what I see. Anya is asking these questions. She's considering the future. For 2 years, she's lived hour by hour. No tomorrow, no next week. Just the next appointment, the next shower, the next pill. But now she's thinking beyond today. That's exhibit of hope, even if she can't see it yet. Anya, I said gently, when you think about the baby, what do you feel? She was quiet for a long time. Her hand moved to her stomach. This time, gentler. Fear, she said finally. So much fear. Fear that I'll ruin its life. Fear that I'll be a terrible mother. Fear that it will grow up and hate me for bringing it into this world. What else? She thought. Her thumb rubbed small circles on her belly. Hope, she whispered. So quietly I almost didn't hear it. A tiny, stupid, impossible hope that maybe this could be a reason to stop, a reason to fight, a reason to become someone again. Not Anya from Kharkiv. Not the girl who lost everything. Not the woman who does terrible things to survive. But a mother. Someone who protects. Someone who loves. Someone who matters. Fresh tears rolled down her face. Is that crazy? She asked. Is it crazy to think a baby could save me when I can't even save myself? It's not crazy, I said, but it's also not the baby's job to save you. That's your job. The baby can be a reason, but you have to be the one who does the work. I don't know how, she said helplessly. That's why I'm here, I said, to help you figure it out, together. Anya, I said, you mentioned you can't look at yourself. Tell me about that. She tensed immediately. Her shoulders came up, defensive. I just can't, she said. When did it start? Vienna. She's after that first night. I woke up the next morning and I went to the bathroom. There was a mirror and I looked at myself. She paused, swallowed hard. And I didn't recognize the person looking back. It wasn't me, it was someone else. Someone I didn't know. Someone I hated. Her voice dropped to a whisper. So I stopped looking. I cover mirrors when I can. When I can't, I look away. I brush my teeth staring at the wall. I put on makeup I feel. I haven't seen my own face in 18 months. What are you afraid you'll see? The truth, she said immediately. That I'm not Anya anymore. That girl died in Kharkiv. And the person I am now, she's nobody. She's nothing. She's just a collection of things that have been done to her. And if I look in the mirror, I'll have to see that. I'll have to admit that I'm gone. This is profound identity fragmentation. Anya doesn't just feel disconnected from her body, she feels disconnected from her entire self. The mirror would force her to confront that disconnect, so she avoids it. Part of healing will be helping her look again, but slowly, when she's ready. Tell me about the worst night, I said. The night that made you come here. Anya closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were wet. Last week, she said, Roman sent me to a hotel, the Waldorf, expensive. The client was different, older, maybe 65, wealthy. He wanted. She stopped, shook her head. He wanted things I didn't want to do. Things that hurt. Things that made me feel like I wasn't human anymore. Like I was just an object. Her breathing was becoming rapid. I said no. For the first time in months, I said no. And he got angry. He said he paid good money. He said I didn't get to say no. He called Roman. She wrapped her arms around herself, rocking again. Roman came, to the hotel, to the room. He was so angry. His face was red. His hands were shaking. He grabbed me by the hair, dragged me into the bathroom. She was crying now, gasping between words. He hit me across the face, once, twice. He said I was embarrassing him, making him look bad. He said I needed to be taught a lesson. She pulled up her shirt. I could see bruises on her ribs, dark purple, some healing, some fresh. He kicked me, she said, while I was on the floor. He kicked me and he said if I ever said no again he'd kill me. He said it would be easy, nobody would look for me, nobody would care. She pulled her shirt back down. And then he made me go back, to the room, to the client, to do everything he wanted. And I did. Because I was afraid, because I wanted to live, even though living felt like dying. What did you do after? I asked. After you left the hotel? Anya's hands were shaking. She clasped them together, squeezed until her knuckles went white. I went back to my apartment, she said. I took a shower, the usual left hot water, scrubbing, until I bled. But it didn't help. I still felt him, I still felt all of them, on me, inside me. She took a shuddering breath. I went to the medicine cabinet. I had pills, the pain pills from before, from Vienna. I'd saved them, I don't know why, maybe I always knew I'd need them again. Her voice dropped. I poured them into my hand, 30 of them, maybe 40. I filled a glass with water, and I thought about it, really thought about it, how easy it would be, just swallow. Go to sleep, never wake up, never have to go to another hotel, never have to smile at another man, never have to pretend I'm okay when I'm dying inside. She looked at me. I wanted to do it, she said. I really did. My hand was shaking. The pills were right there. All I had to do was, she trailed off. What stopped you? Her hand moved to her stomach. I felt it, she said. Just the tiniest flutter, like a butterfly. The baby, moving, for the first time, and I thought, it's alive, it's real, it's innocent, and if I do this, I'm not just killing myself. I'm killing it too. She wiped her eyes. So I put the pills back, and I called you, and I came here, because I don't know if I can be a good mother, but I know I can't be a dead one. Anya, I said carefully, I want to help you. But I need you to understand something. What's happening to you right now, it's not just trauma from the past, it's ongoing danger, you're being trafficked, and that means we need to move carefully. She nodded, her eyes were wide, scared but listening. Here's what I want to do, I said. First, we need to get you safe. There are organizations that help trafficking survivors. They have safe houses, places where Roman can't find you. They have legal help, medical care, everything you need. But the debt isn't real, I said firmly. It's a trap, a lie. You don't owe him anything. What he's done to you is a crime. He's the one who should be afraid, not you. She looked skeptical, but there was something else in her eyes. Something small but unmistakable. Hope. What about the baby? She asked. The safe house will help with that too. Prenatal care, support, and they'll help you figure out what you want to do. Keep the baby, adoption, whatever you decide, they'll support you. No judgment. When? She whispered. How soon can you be ready? She looked at her phone, at the message still glowing on the screen, the appointment she was supposed to be at. Now, she said, I can be ready now. I made calls. Right there, while she sat in my office, watching, like she couldn't believe it was real. Within an hour, I had connected with a colleague who runs a trafficking survivors network. Within 2 hours, we had a bed in a safe house in New Jersey, a meeting with an immigration lawyer, a doctor's appointment for prenatal care. You'll need to leave your phone, I said. He could be tracking it. She looked at the phone in her hand, like it was a chain, like cutting it loose would set her free or doom her. She couldn't tell which. Okay, she said finally. She placed it on my desk, face down. Okay. Do you have anything you need to get from your apartment? She shook her head. Just this, she said, gesturing to the clothes she was wearing, the sweatshirt, the jeans, the worn sneakers, and this. She touched the silver cross around her neck. My mother gave it to me, for my first communion. It's all I have left of her. Then that's all you need, I said. In that moment, watching Anya place her phone on my desk, watching her sever the last thread connecting her to roaming, I felt something shift in my chest. This is why I became a psychologist, not for the comfortable sessions with mild anxiety or relationship issues. For this. For the moments when someone chooses life over survival, when they take the terrifying leap from known danger to unknown freedom. Anya was choosing herself. Maybe for the first time in 2 years, and I was honored to witness it. Anya, I said, before we go I want to ask you something. You said your father might be in Poland. Have you thought about trying to find him? Her face crumpled, fresh tears. Every day, she said, every single day. But what? How do I tell him? She asked. How do I look him in the eye and tell him what I've become? He thinks I died in Kharkiv with Mama and Oksana. That would be easier for him. Better. To think of me as dead and innocent than alive and this? You don't know that, I said gently. Yes, I do, she said. I know how he thinks. He's a good man. Traditional. He believes women should be pure, respected, and I'm... She couldn't finish. You're his daughter, I said. That doesn't change. Not because of what was done to you, not because of what you did to survive. You're still his little girl, and I think if he knew you were alive, he wouldn't care about the rest. He'd just want you back. She looked at me with such longing. Do you really believe that? I do, I said, and maybe when you're ready we can help you find him. When you're safe. When you've had time to heal, we can help you call him, or write to him, whatever you're comfortable with. She nodded slowly. Okay, she whispered. Maybe, someday. Someday, I agreed. 6 months later, Anya walked into my office again. She looked different. Her hair was longer, pulled back in a ponytail. Her face was fuller. The hollows in her cheeks had filled in. She was wearing a loose purple sweater and maternity jeans. Her belly was round and visible, but it was her eyes that struck me most. They were alive. Really, truly alive. Not just surviving, living. Hi, Dr. Bennett, she said, with a smile. A real smile that reached her eyes. Hi, Anya, I said. You look well. I feel well, she said. For the first time in, I don't know how long. She sat down, but this time she didn't look at the door, she didn't check for her phone, she didn't pick at her cuticles, she just sat, present, here. Tell me everything, I said. The safe house was good, she said. Scary at first. I didn't trust anyone, I kept waiting for it to be a lie, another trap. But it wasn't. The women there, they understood, they had their own stories. We didn't have to explain, we just knew. And Roma, did he try to find you? He tried, she said. He sent messages to my old email, threatening, then apologetic, then threatening again, but I never responded, and after a while, they stopped. She took a breath. My lawyer, her name is Patricia, she's amazing. She's helping me with my asylum case. It's gonna take time, maybe a year, maybe more, but she thinks I have a strong case. And Roma? I asked. Did you report him? Her face hardened, but it wasn't fear, it was strength. I testified, she said. Pride in her voice. The FBI raided his operation. They found 5 other girls, all trafficked, all trapped like I was. He's been arrested. Federal charges, human trafficking, sexual exploitation. He's looking at 20 years minimum. That's incredible, I said. How did it feel to testify? Terrifying, she admitted. I had to sit in a room with him, see his face, tell them everything, every detail. I thought I couldn't do it. But Patricia was there, and I thought about the other girls, about stopping him from hurting anyone else. She wiped her eyes, and I did it. I looked him in the eye and I told him everything. About Vienna, about New York, about the beatings, the debt, the threats, everything. You're so brave, I said. I'm not brave, she said. I'm just tired of being afraid. I smiled. That's what brave is. How are you feeling? I asked. Physically, emotionally. Tired, she said. Pregnant tired, but good tired, not scared tired, not hurt tired, just normal tired. She rubbed her belly affectionately. The baby's healthy. I've been going to all my appointments. They did an ultrasound last week. It's a girl. Her voice softened when she said girl. Have you thought about names? She nodded. Her eyes filled with tears, but good tears this time. Oksana, she said. I'm naming her Oksana, after my sister. So a part of her lives on. I felt my own eyes water. That's beautiful, I said. I talk to her, Anya said. At night, when I can't sleep, I tell her about her grandmother, about her aunt, about Kharkiv, in Ukrainian. You're speaking Ukrainian again? She smiled. A sad but genuine smile. Yes, she said. It was hard at first, the words felt stuck. Like I'd forgotten them, but they were still there, waiting. And now it feels good to speak my language again. To be Anya again, not the American Anya, the real one. And your father? I asked gently, her face lit up. I called him, she said. 2 months ago. Patricia helped me find him. He's in Warsaw, working construction. She started crying, happy crying. He's alive. He's okay. And when I told him everything, he didn't judge me. He didn't shame me. He just cried. And he said, you're alive. That's all that matters. You're alive and you're my daughter and I love you. She wiped her face with her sleeve. He's coming, she said. When the baby is born, he's going to fly to New York. He's going to meet his granddaughter. And we're going to be a family again. Not the same family. We can't get that back. But a new one, a smaller one, but still a family. Anya, I said, I'm so proud of you. I'm still scared, she admitted. I still have nightmares. I still flinch when men walk too close. I still can't look in some mirrors. I still sometimes feel dirty, even though I know I'm not. That's normal, I said. Healing isn't linear. There will be hard days, but you're doing the work, and that's what matters. I started therapy, she said, at the safe house. Trauma therapy, EMDR. It's hard. Really hard, but it's helping. Slowly. And the baby? I asked. Are you scared? Terrified, she said honestly. I don't know how to be a mother. I don't know if I'll be good at it, but I want to try. Because she deserves someone who will fight for her. Who will protect her. Who will love her, no matter what. She looked at me. Like my mother loved me, she said softly. This is what recovery looks like. Not perfect, not healed, not over it. But moving forward. Making choices. Building a life, reconnecting with language, with family, with self. Anya will carry her trauma forever. The scars, physical and emotional, will always be there. But scars are proof of healing. Proof that the body fought to repair itself. Proof that the soul, no matter how buried, refused to die completely. She taught me something I always knew but sometimes forget. That hope isn't about forgetting the past. It's about refusing to let the past define the future. Some patients change you. Anya changed me. As Anya left my office that day, 7 months pregnant, speaking Ukrainian, planning for her father's visit, I thought about the first time I'd seen her. The woman who couldn't speak her own language, who couldn't look in mirrors, who counted ceiling cracks while her body was violated, who wanted to disappear. And now, here she was, speaking Ukrainian to her unborn daughter, planning a future, rebuilding a self. Recovery isn't linear. Anya still has nightmares. She still struggles with trust. She still sometimes feels like the girl who lost everything in Kharkiv and the woman who survived Vienna and New York are two different people living in the same skin. But that's okay. Integration takes time. Healing takes time. The important thing is that she's trying. She's showing up. She's choosing life over survival. And that in itself is extraordinary. Some sessions stay with you. Some patients leave marks on your soul. Anya left a fingerprint on my heart, and I will carry her story, her courage, her resilience, her refusal to give up, even when giving up would have been so much easier, with me for the rest of my career. Because she reminded me why I do this work, not to fix people. You can't fix trauma. You can't erase it. You can't make it go away. But you can bear witness. You can hold space. You can say, I see you, I believe you, you matter. And sometimes that's enough to tip the scales. From death to life, from darkness to light, from lost to found. That's the work, and it's the most important work in the world. I hope this story has helped you see your own life, your emotions, or the people around you through a different lens. I hope this story has helped you understand yourself and others better. I would love to hear from you in the comments, to learn about you and your story. If you'd like to share what's on your mind, you can write to me at the email address in my profile. And if this story touched you, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Click the bell icon to turn on notifications so you'll be informed about the next real-life story.